Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're well. So for today I had a question that what is this design pattern and why everybody is asking regarding design patterns in the interviews and actually I didn't go through all of them and trying to implement all of them. So this is a video that will go through all of them and I will try to explain as much as possible about them and then go through a code and then you will see inside the code how this part is working and you will see a full example of all the design patterns here. So let's jump to the code. So first, what is dependency injection? So uh, dependency injection will talk about how to manage when you are creating an instance of a class, how you are doing that. For example, you are writing down uh, $ instance equals to new the class name, or for example, you want to then inside that class you have a constructor and then you should inject something to that constructor. Then there will be a little bit complicated. Maybe you should have to define two, three different instances. Like, for example, let's consider we are inside a PHP code and let's say we have class A and inside class A uh, we have a function constructor and inside constructor we need, for example, $B from class B. So here, for example, this is employee. So we have an employee with some attributes, but the employee should create it from a user. Huh? So in this case, when you are newing employee, for example, const employee equal to new employee. So you can't do that. Why? Because it needs a new of a user. Huh? So this is the this is the dependency injection that we have in Laravel that if you notice, for example, inside a controller, you have a index method and you want to know, for example, what is this request? No? This is request is instance of a request class. So when you are writing your code like this, Laravel will inject this request automatically to this function in your controller. And how it's doing that, let's get dive deep into that and let's check this part of the code. So here at the first line of the this is actually I tried to create a framework. There is no framework in this application, and if you notice, the structure kind of be like Laravel, but it's not Laravel. So here you see, let's go from the first line. We have a app, and if we run the app, we see in the first line we are newing a service container. This is exactly like the service container of Laravel. Let's get deep into what it's working, how it's working. So let's see from the usage of that, let's see how it's working. Huh? So we need to in service container, we need to set one instance of service container because we need it because we are creating the instance of all the classes that we need inside this service container, and this is a really memory usable process, so we need to make sure that this is following from Singleton. So here, let's get deep into this service container. So here, for example, we want to we want to get one instance of event dispatcher class. So we should write down service container and get instance and then the class. So in Laravel, we don't have the get class, we are using bind. Bind is kind of getting an instance, and also uh, this instead of get instance we use bind there, and also for create instance we use build, and also for get instance we use make. For set instance we use actually this is kind of make, this is kind of bind, setting that set instance. So what is going on when we are getting one instance of something? So first we should set the instance of this inside service provider. So let's check the service provider and register app. So inside register we are seeing that, okay, so behind the scene inside service provider it's setting instance, or it's binding these interfaces to these abstracts. Huh? So we are creating, we are telling Laravel that whenever I'm using this interface or this contract, I want to have a new instance of this abstract. Huh? So what's going on this in set instance? So we have a contract and we have a concrete or abstract, and also we have is singleton or not. So let's consider this is not singleton. So we should we have a mapping between contracts to concrete. We have contract concretes, and as a key we are injecting contract and we are adding concrete here. So when we are getting instance, we will check if if let's consider that we don't have singleton. If we have uh, contract and we already bind it to our service providers, we are getting this concrete and we are creating instance from this concrete. So for this creating instance, we have we need to just new something, new the concrete and return it. But the problem is that sometimes this concrete is not instantiable. So how we can find out? Using reflection class. We can find out if it's instantiable or not. And also, sometimes when we are newing, we need to inject something, as I mentioned here, that you should again and again define something that you want to use here inside the contractor. Huh? So here we are checking the constructor all parameters. It means all the dependencies we should inject. This is the parameters. And based on each dependency we want to inject, we are getting the concrete, and we are with this reflection class created from the concrete, we are newing this reflection with this dependency, and this dependency as a loop is using this get instance. This is inside Laravel we have it as make, and we have this as build, and for the set instance we have it as bind. Also in Laravel, instead of set instance, we have a bind and singleton. So I add this singleton as a param here, but both works. Okay, so here is how dependency injection is working, and I hope that if you didn't understand well, watch this video more than one time. Second, I also describe how this service provider is working and injecting dependency to service container with service provider. I show you that we are registering the contract and concrete files here. Number three, Singletone. So what's a Singletone? As I mentioned you, we are creating a new service container, and inside service container we have Singletone instances, and also we have concretes, and also we need to create one instance of service container instance. So when we are getting service container instance, we are immediately returning the service contract, and when we are setting that, we are just uh, filling the service container instance with something that we are injecting. No? So this is completely a singleton pattern. And also, what else if we are, for example, we have a database and we need to just one time connect to database. So here you will see inside service provider we have a, we have a DB contract and DB class, that this is contract, this is concrete, and we are sending true as a singleton. What will happen if the singleton is true? We are if singleton is true, we are adding it to singleton instances. And if we are getting that, if it's a singleton, then we are returning that. So what is singleton? When we want to only one time instantiating a class and do not create two different instantiated in the whole app runtime. What is factory? Factory is kind of, let's search for it, kind of checking the conditions and telling you to create the instance from which class. For example, the best example is the routing. When you are doing routing, for example, you want to map user slash user to user controller index method, or product slash product to product controller. So we should create instance of this class or this class. This is the way factory comes to act. So how it's working? Easy, with switch case, with if else, with whatever. So it's checking, okay, if we have the URL, then it's checking based on this URL the controller class, and then from the service provider that we have it here, we are getting instance of that controller concrete or abstract. Yeah? So also I'm pretty sure that you notice about what is MVC, and let me finish it until here. The rest will be in next video. We have a service layer, repository pattern, and source pattern, and we need to definitely make sure that we are not writing down model or repository inside the controller. Inside controller, we should only call the service layer, and that's for encapsulating business logic from controller. So also this repo is obvious, and this one too.